Hi, all. My name's Adam. I've been thinking about doing some kind of a reel for a long time now, and I've never really known what it was I wanted to talk about, or to say, or to put a focus on. And I've just been thinking a lot lately about things that have been going on in my church, and I want to share that with you. And I think that would be a good opening thing to do, as really I feel as I'm a Christian. If we are not doing things that are serving the Lord, then what are we doing? So, a bit of backstory: my church had a pastor, and he had retired. We found another pastor. He had to step down sooner than we thought he was going to. We thought we were going to have him for a while, and that was not what the Lord had planned for us. And so we've been going through a trial at my church. My elders have been saying, instead of rushing full steam ahead, like I would like to for sure, and some other people I'm guessing in the church would as well. They are going to take a month of February and pray and fast and seek God's will in this instead of going forward. And it's kind of like with the Israelites with the storm or the pillar of fire cloud. They would not move unless that pillar was moving forward. So the church is saying it's wise to look for that pillar, as it were, and wait for it to move before we do. So, in light of that, my wife and I have been taking today to do some fasting just for the morning. Nothing major. But I think that's a good way of starting out on a journey like this, is to take baby steps and get yourself in that mindset. If you can do a bigger one, great. I'm not that kind of person. I don't do that big of a move. I like to just gradually go. So, in this morning, we've been doing some prayer time. We've been reading our Bibles, praising, that kind of thing. And I'm trying to think through, what would God have me to know in this time? And in the Bible reading that I had this morning, it was talking about how we are supposed to be holy or separate from the world, and that God desires us to be holy, and that He has set us apart to be holy. And so I was thinking, well, what does that mean exactly? I know it outlines for the Israelites certain things that they were not supposed to do. They did not give into their pagan practices of their neighbors, and they didn't practice immorality. They were not supposed to be, practicing anything evil, not worshiping the pagan idols that the neighbors had on their shelves, and that kind of thing. Um, Being in America, we don't really have actual pagan idols that we're actually bowing to and worshiping. At least I don't think that that's really a problem. But we're still supposed to be separate, even though we are not living in the times of the Jews, and we are not Jewish for the most part. Um, we're still called to be separate and holy. So, for one, I think that that's going to be how we look, that we shouldn't look like most of the world does. I think the main thing I would say is, how are we conducting ourselves? How are we living our life? Are we somebody who is complaining about everything and seeing all the negative? Are we bemoaning every little thing that goes wrong? And are we blaming others? Or are we doing the opposite? And are we praising God in the bad times and in the troubles and in the prisons, as it were, or perhaps the literal prisons for some of you? Um, I know I try and be that way. I don't always succeed. I have times I'm very negative. I complain about a lot of stuff, and I'm going, everything is horrible, and there's nothing good in life. And, what are you doing, God, that there's no good anymore? Well, I'm not being a very good Christian saying that. I get we can get in that mindset, but that is not the mindset God would have us to have. I think we need to focus on anything that is good and pure and honest, as it says, and make that our main focus. If there is something bad going on, like, you lost your job, or your car broke down, or you're really sick, something like that, it's easy to focus on that negative because that's taking up such a big part of your life. But I would say you need to look around and see, well, what's the good in your life right now, and focus on that. Okay, you don't have a job. Do you still have money? Do you still have food? Do you still have a house? Or, okay, your car's broken. Do you still have other transportation, or do you still have a roof over your head? Do you still have family that loves you? What do you have that's in your life that's good and positive, and focus on that. And then the other question I would say we should be asking ourselves in being separate is, we are called to serve God. And that's not something somebody who's not a Christian is going to focus on. So that will make our lives look different too. And I think the obvious idea is, oh, to serve him, you have to go be a missionary, you have to be a pastor, you have to go talk to, the poor, the destitute, and you have to do all of these things. Those are all great, yes. And if you want to and feel called to do that, yes, do that by all means. But it also means living your life right and to serve him in whatever it is that you're doing. If you have a job that's not necessarily, a worshipful job or a church type job, and you're just, you know, working at Freddy's and you're a checker, well, that can be a way of serving God. Maybe being friendly to the people that come into your check stand, that have had a really bad day. That could be a way of doing it. Or just doing your best at whatever it is that you're doing. Because yes, you're serving the company you work for, or your boss, or your supervisors, but ultimately we're serving God in everything that we do. So you need to keep that in mind. I know I don't always do that myself. I get caught up in, oh, the boss wants me to do whatever, and I don't like doing this because I don't like my boss, maybe. But ultimately, I don't work for them. I don't work for the company. I work for God. And I'm here to serve people in whatever capacity that it happens to be, whether that's being a checker, whether that's being, a welder or a mechanic, something physical like that, or it is the ones of being a pastor or something. But whatever the job is, you need to keep in mind God is your boss, not this man or woman that is in charge of you, and not the company. It's God. And if you're not giving your best to him, maybe you need to pause and say, well, why is that? What is going through my mind right now that I need to change this? So that's really been my takeaway, is to act according to how God would have us to do, to have the right kind of attitude. And if there is any prevailing sin in your life, whether it's sexual immorality, whether it is lust or greed for money, or it's jealousy, or you don't speak, in the manner that he would have you speak, that you're using negative language, or, maybe it's a gambling thing, maybe it's an addiction. It could be a lot of things that can take over. Put a pin in that and see what you can do to take it out. And if you can't do it, just by yourself and with prayer, then get with somebody who will help you. There are a lot of places out there, and there's a lot of people who are willing to help you. I bet even if you just reached out to, your neighbor or somebody that you know is a Christian, but you don't really know anything else about them, but you say, hey man, I really need a brother in Christ to help come alongside me and deal with whatever this is that I'm going through that's making me, look like the world because I'm down and depressed and I'm focused on the negative. I would be willing to bet that that kind of person would be willing to pray for you. Maybe not, with you right then and there, but they would at least talk to you. Because I know some people aren't comfortable always with the prayer, but they will do it in their private life, or they will take it to other people. If not them, really get plugged into a church somewhere. I myself go to Melrose Community. They are an amazing church. If you are watching this and you don't have a church to go to, I would recommend you go to that one. There are really good people there. So that's my point and my piece for today. I plan to make more of these. I would like encouragement. If any of you enjoy what I have to say, please, let me know, so I know that there is a reason to do this, and perhaps this can be a way too of encouraging people. All right, y'all have a good day now. Bye.